Hello and welcome everybody to the first episode of the Fast Break here on the Variety Sports Network. I'm your host, Shoot Durock, and I'm excited to get this thing kicked off. So just be me today here to start. Hopefully, in the future here, going to be adding some guests to be joining along with me, some co-hosts as well. But for right now, it's just me because we're excited here, get this thing kicked off. It's kind of the time of year where I think more people really start tuning into NBA more consistently. NFL, we got the Super Bowl this week, but after that, it's kind of a free for all with college basketball and NBA really in full go. Especially, we have the trade deadline here this Thursday, and that's where we're going to start. This became really simple for me with how I was going to start the first show. At first, I wasn't too sure. There's been a lot circulating. Jimmy Butler, when's he can get traded? There wasn't really a whole lot of big moves. Well, this weekend, that all changed. So Saturday night, I've been watching college basketball all day. A great day of college basketball. Duke UNC. Coach Cal's returned to Rupp Arena. And, was ready to go to bed. Was ready to go to bed after a great day watching some hoops. And then all of a sudden, the news breaks. Luka Doncic is now a Los Angeles Laker. So the full trade here, the Mavericks acquire Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick from the Lakers. And then the Lakers acquire Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris, and then the Jazz, third team involved in this, which is funny. Apparently, Danny Ainge didn't even know this was the trade he was a part of. But the Jazz get Jalen Hood-Schifino from the Lakers, as well as a 2025 second-round pick that was originally from the Clippers, and then a 2025 second-round pick via the Mavericks. So this is like, I think, the most shocked I've ever been by a trade ever. Like, this just came out of nowhere. There was no rumblings. Usually you see some sort of potential, hey, this guy's being shopped around, this guy's in talks. And apparently the Mavericks did not shop Luka Doncic in talks at all. It was just, let's reach out to the Lakers, and they unload him. And this is just like one of the most confusing trades like ever. I mean, for me as a Lakers fan, like fully transparent here, I'm a Lakers fan. I was stoked. I was going crazy. Like I said, I was about to go to bed, and all of a sudden I can't sleep because we just got our, future franchise piece here, and while he's out this year, still been out with that calf strain he suffered on Christmas. I mean, Luka is a top 5 player in the NBA. So now you pair that with LeBron James, and I don't think the Lakers are done. I don't think Lakers are done here. So while it may not even make them a title contender this year, just the fact that they have their now franchise piece for when LeBron retires, that it's now just Luka's team, is just insane to me. And the Mavericks, I just don't know what you're doing. If all of a sudden now there really is that many concerns about Luka's fitness, like, oh, he's allegedly 270 pounds, he's not committed to his conditioning, stuff like that, why are the Lakers the only team you're hitting up saying, hey, do you want this guy? Like, why wouldn't you call the 29 or the 28 other GMs and ask them what their best package would be for Luka? Like, the fact that the Lakers of all teams, man, once again, they just always have that superstar. They're the ones who get Luka Doncic. It's just absurd to me. Because, I mean, Dallas has just now shortened their championship window by so much. Like, this is a team that was in the finals less than 9 months ago, back in June. And yeah, they were the 5 seed. They went on a bit of a run. Who knows? They would have did it again this year. I mean, they're currently a team in the play-in, but to just get rid of your franchise cornerstone and bring in Anthony Davis, who is a very good player. I mean, still a top 15 player in the league, but he's 30, 31 as opposed to Luka, who's 25. Like, you just shortened your championship window by so much. I mean, yeah, I think AD and Kyrie will be a good duo, but I don't see them as now a championship contender that they were when Luka was healthy. So it's just such a confusing trade for me. Where from the Dallas aspect, I just don't understand it all. Just watching the interview, it seemed like Jason Kidd was blindsided. It literally just seems like their GM, Nico Harrison, was just like, I want to get rid of him. And he seems to be in the minority here. So that, to me, it just seems very interesting to me. So we have a comment here from Mr. Primetime 313. Who else would you want besides AD that you could realistically get? Butler, Tatum? I mean, that's the thing. I don't even know. Like, I like Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's not for trade. No shot Jason Tatum's available. However, I don't know. After this Luka Doncic trade, I don't know if there's really anyone untouchable in the league. Like that just seems crazy to me. I cannot believe that happened. I mean, I just don't know if the Mavericks, like that's the thing. Some of these trades, and that's been the difficult part about moving Butler, is just the money needs to work. I mean, if the Mavericks could get a Jimmy Butler, sure. Like I guess then yeah, maybe AD but that's the thing. I think if the Mavericks bring in Jimmy Butler, that would require shipping AD to Miami. Like I don't think they'd be able to bring them both in. So like that's just where this is just very confusing for me for Dallas. I just have no clue at all what they were thinking by this. I mean, if they really thought they couldn't re-sign him, like really thought that he wasn't going to be a Maverick, he was going to go somewhere else and they're going to lose him for nothing, I guess you get rid of him. But that's what I'm saying. Why would you just hit up the Lakers? Like, why would you not be checking in with the other GMs around the league? Like, why is it just the Lakers? I'm sure someone could have given you a better package than what they got if they desperately wanted to get rid of Luka Doncic that bad. I mean, maybe you don't want to trade him in state, but the Spurs have like 9 first-round picks. I'm sure the Spurs could have got you some package for Luka Doncic. The Thunder have like 17. The Thunder could have got, like, somebody could have gotten you a package that's more than Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick 4 years from now. I just don't understand the thinking. I know I'm kind of piling on here on Dallas, but I think it's deserved. Like, I just don't know why you would do this, why you would get rid of a player like Luka Doncic. I mean, I even saw it in 2K. Like, I equated this. This is like a, you and your buddies have a My League online, just kind of playing around. Maybe you even did a fantasy draft. And this would be something crazy where it's like, hey, I need a guard, you need a big. Let's trade Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. And even then, it would probably be a bit of a ridiculous trade. But to do it in real life, I mean, people are doing 2K simulations where the Mavericks did not accept this trade. So the fact that they thought that it was just like, I just don't know what they were thinking there. So good on the Lakers. They strike once again. They just always have that superstar. I mean, you can go back as far as, Wilt, Kareem, Magic. Then, it turns into Shaq and Kobe. And then, then you add LeBron. So they just always have the superstar. And they once again have that here in Luka Doncic. So then moving on to our next trade, another big trade we had here on Sunday. But this one, honestly, after that Luka Doncic trade, it just it didn't hit the same. If I'm being honest, it did not hit because, I mean, when you have a top 5 player in the league move, especially just during the season, it's just unheard of. I mean, like the KD one to the Suns a couple years ago struck me. This is even way above that. This is way above any KD moves. KD getting traded to the Suns, KD signing with the Warriors. I think this was way more shocking than any of that. Yeah, let me know here in the chat, guys. What is the most shocked you've been to any trade or signing ever, NBA or any sport, honestly? Like, because honestly, for me, I think this Luka Doncic to the Lakers trade has to be number one. We got one comment here from Stoned Sports Podcast. The biggest thing for me is that the Mavs didn't shop him. Yeah, I agree. That's what I've been, talking about here. Because it's just hard for me to think that was the best package they could have got if they really wanted to get rid of him. I mean, heck, hardball and like the Heat have been doing with Butler, like, wait it out. Like, this can't just be like a thing happening all in like one weekend, all in like a couple days. Like, you need to give people time. Maybe you come to an agreement. Like, this almost just seems like the Mavericks and Luka, they could have just talked. A GM who had this problem with his conditioning, they could have just talked this out and like figured something out. But instead, they just reacted on emotion, reacted on instinct, and just got rid of him way too quickly. I mean, the fact that Luka Doncic is the guy we traded because of conditioning concerns and not Joel Embiid or Zion Williamson. Luka Doncic is the guy. Like that. It just blows my mind. I just cannot believe it. So let's get over here now. It's this next trade here on Sunday that I was hinting at. The Spurs acquire De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. Sacramento Kings acquire Zach LaVine, Sidi Sissoko, 2025 first-round pick, top 14 protected from Charlotte, 2027 first-round pick from the Spurs, 2031 first-round pick via Minnesota, a 2025 second-round pick from the Bulls, 2028 second-round pick via Denver, and then a 2028 second-round pick as well. And then the Bulls, they're the third team in this trade. They acquire Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and then their own first-round pick for this year's draft. They get that back from San Antonio. That was a part of, I forget what deal, but it's blank. It's leaving my mind for a second here, but I know the Bulls and the Spurs made a trade recently. So like I said, this one, it didn't hit as much because it's not Luka Doncic, but De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs. Very good move that I like for San Antonio. I think San Antonio is doing a good job of putting pieces around Victor Wembanyama. They realize they have a franchise cornerstone. So rather than trading him, which again, I know Wemby doesn't have any concerns, stuff like that. He's young, it's year 2. But rather than, doing something crazy, let's bring in pieces around him. Let's not give him the chance to fail. Like let's make sure he has the right guys around him so he develops into this generational talent that he's made out to be. On the Kings side, they get Zach LaVine. I mean, the Kings are a team, right now they're in the play-in. They're now kind of the Sacramento Bulls because they got DeMar DeRozan this offseason, and now they add Zach LaVine. So they got 2 former Bulls now on their squad, and then a bunch of picks. Like I mentioned, the Spurs had a bunch of picks. And then the Bulls, they're finally doing it. I live here in Chicago. You can probably see my Blackhawks flag. I got a D Rose poster as well. I'm here in Chicago. Forever, the Bulls have just been peddling in mediocrity. Sorry, tough word to say. They're every year. They're just like around that 8 seed. Now there's the play-in, around this 9-10 seed. They're in it where you think, okay, hey, we're gonna go on a run, make the playoffs, make the play-in. But even say they do make the playoffs, get into a first-round matchup, they're losing the first round. That's their ceiling every year. They're not going any further than that. And honestly, in the NBA, that's the worst place to be. Because you're not winning the lottery, you're not getting draft picks, but you're also not competing for championship. Like, that's the worst place to be. And it feels like finally now, they're finally starting to be like, hey, let's just be bad. Let's capture the flag. Let's go get Cooper Flag. We see, he's a generational talent potentially. They watched that UNC Duke game on Saturday. They saw Cooper Flag ball, and they're like, we got to go get this kid because he can play. And I mean, everyone knows he can play. I think there's a lot of teams that this year they're finally like, all right, let's just go get him. Like, let's finally just be bad. It took the Bulls, this long, but they finally did. So kudos to them for that. But I mean, it's really just not like a great trade. I mean, they only got 1 pick, which was just their own that they got back. It's nothing insane. I mean, they didn't really get a great return. Zach Collins and Trey Jones, I believe they waived one of those guys already. I know they waived Torrey Craig today as well. So it's just kind of an ad trade for them. For the Kings, I kind of like this. I mean, honestly, that De'Aaron Fox, like, if it wasn't for the Luka Doncic trade, I would say the De'Aaron Fox wanting to be traded kind of came out of nowhere. He's been there for 8 years. He's taken them to the playoffs. I mean, 2 years ago, they were a 3 seed. Just got unlucky, matched up with Golden State. Golden State beat him in a 7-game series. But yeah, now he said, no, I'm good. Want it out of there. So trying to replace him with Zach LaVine. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I like it. I mean, Zach LaVine is a guy I'm high on. I just think kind of too much was expected of him here with the Bulls. I think he was kind of expected to be like a top guy, like a number 1 guy. And on a contending team, I just really don't think he can be. Granted, the Bulls in 2021 were the 1 seed at one point. They made the playoffs that year. Then Lonzo Ball got hurt, kind of all went to the garbage. So it didn't work out too well. So, that he's had his flash with the Bulls. I mean, he was here for 8.5 years. He definitely had his moments, was a good player, but it was just kind of time for him to go. Because like I said, the Bulls need to finally just lean into the tank. Like, let's stop trying to be this mediocre middle of the path team. Let's lead in the tank. So they finally do it. Get rid of him. Good addition for Sacramento. I mean, with no De'Aaron Fox now. So we'll see how Zach LaVine pairs with, DeMar DeRozan, his former teammate, with Domantas Sabonis. So honestly, Sacramento, fine trade for them. I mean, the Spurs definitely hands down won this trade. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, somebody thinks differently. I think this is for sure Spurs won this trade, but like, fine return for the Kings and the Bulls. It's like good to see them leading the tank, but not great. Not great return, not great, but it's a start. So hopefully they make some more trades. Like, I could definitely see a guy like Nikola Vucevic going this week. I mean, wouldn't surprise me. Kobe White went this week. Maybe even Lonzo Ball, like I mentioned. So we'll see. The Bulls did come out and say, everyone other than Montes Buzelis is available for trade. And I don't think they're done. It would very much shock me if the Bulls were done. I'm going to the Bulls game tomorrow night. Actually, I got tickets through work, so I'm excited for that. But it's going to be interesting to see who's actually playing, just because of is there a move that's going to be made beforehand? Is there going to be a move that's in the works? Around game time. So we'll just have to see what happens. And then the final trade of the weekend, this one, just kind of minor. Clippers acquire Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills. Jazz acquire Mo Bamba, PJ Tucker, and 2030 second round pick, as well as cash considerations. I believe Mo Bamba already got waived. That one, yeah, pretty minor. Just Clippers trying to add some depth pieces. So we'll move on now. Another big thing going on the NBA this week, or this past week. Obviously we have the trade deadline this Thursday. But last Thursday, we got the rest of the All-Stars announced. So 2 weeks ago from Thursday was the starters got announced, and then last week was reserved. So I'm going to go through here, Eastern and Western Conference. So starters for the Eastern Conference, those who don't already know, we got Giannis, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, and Karl-Anthony Towns. And then the reserves that were announced on Thursday, we have Jaylen Brown, Pascal Siakam, Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Damian Lillard, and Tyler Hero. So congrats to it's Tyler Hero's first All-Star appearance. It's Evan Mobley's as well. So, and I believe, is it Cade's? I think it's Cade's as well. So congrats to those three guys. Kleber draft picks. Let's see, what's this? We got a comment here from John K. Kleber draft picks. That is what the Lakers. Well, no, they didn't get any draft. You think he's gonna be traded for draft picks? Sorry, I'm a little confused by this comment here. All right, back to the starters. Back to the starters here, or back to the All-Stars. All right, and then in the West, Steph Curry's gonna be starting once again here in his home city, in his home arena, the Chase Center, host of this year's All-Star game. He's joined by Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. And then the reserves for the West, we have Anthony Edwards, the now traded Anthony Davis, James Harden once again, Jaren Jackson Jr., Alfred Sengun, Jalen Williams, and Victor Wembanyama. So Sengun and Williams making their first All-Star appearances on the year as well. So, like I said, I just read off those the starters and reserves for both sides there. What do you guys have as your biggest snubs? Who do you think got snubbed? And for me, the guy I'm going with, the biggest snub to me was Domantas Sabonis. I mean, he's a guy where this year he's averaging 20 points per game with 14 rebounds and 6.5 assists. So he's been playing very well. Like I mentioned, the Sacramento team is in the play-in, so they're not, winning a bunch of games by any means. I mean, let's see. I have the standings pulled up here. Sacramento on the year is currently 24-24. So they're a 500 team. So it's not like he's putting up these stats. They're winning a bunch of games. But, I mean, they're in the mix. So for me, it's hard. A guy with that numbers, it's just hard for me to not see him in. I mean, the thing, though, with, All-Stars is, it's hard because you got to pick somebody to replace him. I mean, would you put him over a Sengun? Maybe. I mean, but the Rockets are the 2 seed. That's the thing. It's tough to have the team that's the second best team in your conference not have a single All-Star. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe it's Jalen Williams with that too. I mean, Thunder in first place, only one All-Star, only being Shai. I don't know. I mean, maybe you could argue Jaren Jackson, but once again, he's another guy. He's been towards his team's, towards the top of standings. Memphis is a 3 seed. So a lot of, kind of unsung teams that maybe some younger teams are the top of the standings here in the West. So you want to showcase those guys. So I understand that there. So then it's okay, Wemby is, his team's not great, but I would say Wemby's, better numbers. I mean, 24 points per game, 10 rebounds. So he's hooping as well. And I mean, that's your future face of the league. You want to have him in the All-Star game. So I don't know. Maybe it is you take him over, an Anthony Davis where, the Lakers, well, now he's on the Mavericks, but the Lakers, while they're, the 5th seed currently, they're not the top spots. Maybe you put them there. I don't really know. That's the hard thing with these snubs and what I really encourage people to do. Because, there's always people that come out right away. They claim, oh, this guy got snubbed. This guy should be in kind of thing. But when you really have to do it, then you have to pick someone to not be in it. And that's a difficult thing to do. Granted, who knows? Maybe with now this new format they're doing this year with the teams and the draft, maybe they extend the number of all-star spots, because I would argue, there's only what here 24, 24 all-star spots. There's probably every given year like close to 30 guys who have an argument for being an all-star. But I think that's kind of what makes being an all-star so cool is it's exclusive. You don't want to just go back and now add all these spots, and then it's kind of like, all right, well, that kind of taints like using all-star appearances on like a resume to compare players over time, because it's like, well, if the current era, 2020's era and kind of beyond has more all-star appearances, all-star spots, it's kind of hard to compare those to guys, who played in the previous era when there wasn't as many spots. So I don't want them to water it down. I like how it is, but yeah, it does just kind of stink to see certain guys left off every year. Another one I know some people were mentioning, Trae Young as well. Let me pull up his numbers here really quick. I misspelled. No, there we go. We got it. So Trae Young on the year, 22 points, 11.5 assists, 3 rebounds, shooting 40% from the field. But he's another one where it's like you kind of argue, okay, well, his team isn't doing too hot because the Hawks, they are currently in the play-in. They're the 9 seed, but they're 22 and 27. They're 5 games under 500. And that's going to be really interesting here in the East. It's kind of almost going to be a battle of just who's the least bad to get these like 8 and 9 seeds, because I have a feeling, or not 8 9, 9 and 10. I feeling for sure the 10 seed and probably the 9 seed as well are both going to be teams that are like a couple games under 500. So it's going to be interesting to see, kind of there. I think the Hawks probably stick in it. I think the Bulls are going to drop back here. Philly's now going to look to move up there. They've been playing better as of late. Toronto's red hot. They're 8 and 2 in their last 10, so maybe Toronto jumps back up there, but we'll have to see. So that's like the argument against Trae Young, but I feel like it's just very, very back and forth. Like people at times will use, it's a individual award, like team statistics don't matter. But other times they'll be like, no, like this guy's putting up this numbers, but his team's bad. Like, how can we put him as an all-star? So it's something I kind of struggle with, because I feel like I was mentioning earlier, like you don't want to have the second best team in the West not have an all-star. Same like third best team in the West not have an all-star. Like you want to recognize those guys who are playing well, but their team, or like they're playing well on winning teams, but maybe there's some of these guys on the lower teams are putting up better numbers. So it's a tough debate. I'd love to hear, if you guys want to sound off the comments here, let me know what your kind of thoughts on are. But I don't know, the fact that Trae Young is only a 3-time All-Star is just kind of crazy to me. And the fact that, he's been in the league now for what is it? This is now his 7th year, and he's only been an All-Star 3 times. Like he's a better player than that. Like he should have more All-Star appearances. But once again, it's just like, who are you going to replace? I mean, looking out East here, I mean, maybe like Tyler Hero, because his team's struggling a little bit. I mean, like Cade Cunningham's having a really good year. The Pistons went from being in the basement last year to now like they're going to be a play in for sure, and maybe even playoff team. So it's hard to not recognize him. I mean, Dame's having a good year once again. The Cavs, I feel like the 3 All-Stars from the Cavs with Mitchell starting, then Garland and Mobley, like I feel like that's very well deserved. So it's just kind of hard. I don't know who you take out. I guess probably the guy I would maybe lean would be Trae Young over Tyler Hero. But sometimes like these guys who they're not an all-star every year, like, Tyler Hero, he may never be an all-star again. So you do want to recognize him that one time when he's having a good year, having an all-star caliber year. So it's a tough debate there. And then the third and final one I was seeing, because especially this one surprised me, he was leading, like he's up pretty high in the fan vote. I believe at one point he was leading the guards in fan vote. LaMelo Ball. Ball family's hot right now. Lonzo finally came back after missing a lot of time. LiAngelo dropped Tweaker, absolute banger of a song. My favorite song right now. I listen to it almost daily. It's that good. And then LaMelo's playing well this year. I mean, 28 points per game, 7 assists, and he's not an all-star. He's not an all-star. But granted, that's what I'm saying. Once again, his team, the Charlotte Hornets, are 12 and 34, second to last place in the East. Definitely struggling this year. All right, going back to, I'm assuming this was regarding the AD and Luka trade. Going back to this quick here, we have a comment from JW2. Behind door exchange was made. So looks like JW2 here. He's got his tinfoil hat on. He's claiming he might be claiming a little NBA rigged here, thinking some kind of shady dealings are happening. And one thing when like a lopsided trade kind of happens, that always just makes me laugh. I just think back to the Chris Paul to the Lakers trade that got vetoed. Like that's just hilarious to me. I mean, David Stern, rest in peace. No shot he would have vetoed the Chris Paul trade and then let this go through. Like you have to think. Granted, the interesting thing with that Chris Paul trade, it was mainly because the Hornets at the time were owned by the league. They're trying to find an owner for the Hornets. So they didn't want that trade to go through. They wanted Chris Paul to be there. Granted, he then did get traded to the Clippers, but they thought Charlotte got a little bit better return in that one. I mean, that's something I could pull that up, go into the deep dive on that here if we really want to. But yeah, once again, just like I don't know how you like someone was saying earlier, how do you just not shop him? How do you just not shop? How do you just go to the Lakers and say, hey, we want to get rid of Luka, and that's it? Like it will just forever be insane to me. It just will forever be insane to me. Yeah, here we go. Shit, I can see the Lakers sliding the Mavs a cool $1 billion behind. I don't think they got that kind of money, but that seems like a lot. That's a definitely tinfoil hat stuff for sure. All right, and yeah, he's still going here. All right, I'm not saying it happened, but something that effect had to have occurred. Yeah, they're just like you would think that's how crazy of a trade that is. That that like they wouldn't that just happened just out of nowhere. Yeah, you would had to think there has to be someone behind the scenes. There has to be some shady dealings, but no, I don't think there is. I think the Mavericks, like I said, Nico Harrison was just that dumb. Just like for some reason did not like Luka Doncic, did not see him as the face of the Mavericks. Like literally every single other person in the city of Dallas. I mean, they literally had a funeral for the guy when he got traded. That's how, granted, that's some internet trolling. That's people just trying to get clicks. But that's how just unbelievable it is. I mean, I saw the Mavericks TV intro like yesterday. The guy is talking about how he like can't sleep and just like can't believe like what are we doing here? And like it's very rare that you see like the TV guys be like that critical of the team. But honestly, like it was just warranted. It was definitely warranted. They're worth billions. Yes, I know, but like the ownership themselves like is not worth billions. Like the team value, yes, but the owner, who's even the buses aren't worth billions. But yeah, it's there. Like you would think there has to be some. I don't think there is, but yeah, this is some crazy. I mean, you can reference a lot of people talking about how NBA ratings are down this year. Let's get LeBron a face of the league to play with, and yeah. So equate realness to troll. I'm being real. Okay. Hey, I mean, you're free. No, I don't think you're trolling me. I'm saying some people online, trolling, doing like the funeral and stuff like that. I think that was a bit crazy, but yeah, I mean, no, people are free to believe whatever they think. Like I said, I don't think a billion, multi-billion-dollar company, the NBA, is gonna have shady dealings going on behind the scenes. But like I'm getting to here, people talking about TV views being down. People talk. I mean, Adam Silver is going on here. Hey, should we shorten the quarters? You never know. You just never know. I mean, now we've got the Terry Rozier potentially involved in some gambling issues related to Jonte Porter, similar thing. So it's like, hey, let's make this big trade. Let's put those other things on the back burner. Let's have the entire sports world, especially Super Bowl week. The fact that like a lot of like just all sports show, like Sports Center, like part of my take, any sort of podcast, like highlight show, they're leading off Super Bowl week with Luka Doncic being traded to the Lakers. That's great for the NBA. That's great for the NBA because any other time Super Bowl week would be the starting headline, and this year wasn't because of this just insane trade. So I want to shout out all you guys. I mean, we clipped 100. We're right around 100 people in the chat. Make sure, if you haven't already, make sure to like the stream. That helps us out for sure. And yeah, if you got any comments, any takes for kind of what I'm saying here, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll show them here on the screen. I like to interact with you guys. It makes it easier for me, especially considering, like I said, right now I don't have a co-host, just me soloing this. So yeah. So all right. What were we? We were talking about the All-Star. I got distracted. I think I was done with the All-Stars. I mean, LaMelo, could he be in? Potentially, yes, but it's just one of those, tough. His team's not doing great. They're gonna have to find a way to put some more pieces around LaMelo. And Brandon Miller being out for the year hasn't helped the Hornets either. So that's one of those, like I said, once again, let me know what you guys think. Do you value, when it comes to All-Stars, do you value more the team success or the individual players, stats and success? Like, what would you rather see in the All-Star game? And I think especially like for fan voting, I would say fan voting definitely leans more of like people want to see like the big name players who are playing really well. But I think these coaches who, they don't have the chance to watch every single game every night, they're busy doing all sorts of different stuff, coaching games, scouting for their next games, they're not watching every team every night. I think they definitely value, team success more. And that's why, in the coaches voting, a guy like LaMelo is getting hurt by his team being 12-34 on the year. And that's why you find him not in the All-Star game. So moving on, we did also have the contestants for the slam dunk contest announced. So going to kind of go through that and give some takes here on the slam dunk contest. So once again, we have our two-time defending champion, Mac McClung, returning. Chiefs aren't the only one going for a three-peat here in February. Mac McClung looking for a three-peat here in the dunk contest. He's only played 4 NBA games in his career, but man, that boy's got hops. He can get up there, does some pretty cool dunks. So excited to see him again. Then we have Stephon Castle, a Spurs rookie, drafted 4th overall to UConn, was a national champion last year, one and done player. So he's averaging 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists so far this season. Then we have Montes Buzelis, who I was talking about a little bit earlier with the Bulls, the one untouchable player for trade. He's not getting traded. He's the one guy the Bulls said, hey, Montes isn't going anywhere. So he's going to be representing Chicago here All-Star weekend. 2011 pick in the draft. Played for G League Ignite last season. And then he's scoring 4.9 points per game with 2.7 rebounds. Only playing 12.7 minutes. So not a lot of run here for Montes. But I think, with these trades, you're going to see him getting some more run. And I think, an event like this, it's a good way for fans, maybe aren't following the NBA as closely to kind of get to know some of these guys. And then final, we have Andre Jackson from the Bucks, second round pick in 2023. Started 33 games for the Bucks this year, though, and averaging 17 minutes of a game. Let's see what were his stats here. 3 points, 3 rebounds. So yeah, hasn't done a whole lot. That's why he's not getting a ton of minutes. Has had to start a little bit, but yeah, like I said, this is another one kind of fans will get to know him more here in the dunk contest. So obviously, like I said, I'm very excited for Mac McClung. He's pulled out some great dunks past couple of years. I mean, I was a big, especially like in high school, like watching the Ball is Life mixtapes, watching guys like that. I remember Mac McClung, like he had Zion level of like bounce when I was watching him play for Gate City. Like he could just jump out. That's why like I always was like attracted to just watching his play, watching, the videos of his games, his mixtape, stuff like that, just because his bounce was insane. Was always just throwing down crazy dunks. So I like that the NBA has capitalized on that to kind of showcase, hey, we got this guy, maybe doesn't play a bunch, he's mainly been a G League player, but he can freaking throw it down. He's like the kind of guy, save dunk contest with, those crazy dunks like that Aaron Gordon or Zach LaVine, back like 2015, or, throw it even farther back to like a Vince Carter, guys like that. Like he has that level of bounce, kind of that level of awe for the gym, gets people going, gets people excited. But other than that, this dunk contest, it's just a little underwhelming. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a good chance for a lot of, maybe more casual fans to get to know some of these guys. But I would like to see another, big name or two in here. It would make it more entertaining, in my opinion. I mean, the fact that it's, we have 2 rookies, a first-year player, and two rookies are like higher picks, but like you said, not really playing a bunch. Like we got to find some way to get like an Aaron Gordon or a Zach LaVine. Maybe they wouldn't have the same bounce. Get guys like that, like back in the dunk contest. Guy, just athletic guy. I mean, another guy. I mean, this is just throwing it back to those mixtapes. I love to see like a Michael Porter Jr. I think he could be pretty good in the dunk cons. I could see him. I'd have to think of some more guys. I mean, Giannis is more like just aggressive with his dunks, and obviously that's like a higher echelon. Like, I mean, that's like a top 5, top 10 player in the league. I don't know if Giannis would have the most athletic dunks, but just like get me some more star power in this dunk contest, man. Like All-Star Weekend. Remember as a kid, like I just loved watching All-Star Weekend. It was usually like President's Day. So I had that Monday off of school. Like I was so excited to watch all these games. I mean, I used to even watch the celebrity game. I used to be that into All-Star Weekend. But I just feel like it just doesn't have the same aura that it used to. I just feel like they haven't been able to get as many big names. I mean, 2020 delivered the first year they did the Elam ending. But we'll have to see how this draft goes. I am a big fan. Like the NHL has done this before, where they've had the draft both in like just drafting the two teams, but also the current, the drafting 4 different teams. They did it last year. Excuse me. But it really just comes down to if the players care, if the players try. I mean, if they try in this tournament, they want to, compete, want to, play some real basketball, then I think it could be entertaining. It is gonna be interesting, see just kind of eight-man team still playing 5-on-5. I mean, I would equate this more to like I think it would be interesting to see this format in like a 3-on-3 like half court tournament almost. I think could be really cool. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe that gets the guys to play a little bit. Well, that's just the thing. Like we need more effort. I think we just kind of need more big names in these events. But I'll give them credit. I'll give the NBA credit because then the one other note I did have here for an All-Star event, we have it announced. Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul, they're going to team up together, play together here in the skills competition on Saturday night. So usually they've been doing kind of this like this relay race format, or like the 3 different teams of 3 players. I believe it's been the past couple of years. Like I said, I don't even really remember because I barely watched like the skills content. Like it's usually now something that I'm sure like I'll go out, like if I'm out doing something and it's on a TV, I'll watch it, but I'm not like sitting down marquee event for All-Star Saturday night the way I used to be. Sorry, like I said, a lot of talking here, just one guy. So feel free. If you guys have any takes, drop them in the comments. I'll read them off. It gives me a little bit of a breather. But I would do like this. I mean, the NBA, I'll give them credit. They are going all in on marketing Wembanyama as the next up, as the next face of the league. I think that's something, can get ratings up. Especially, if the Spurs can go on a little bit of a run here. I mean, the Spurs have always just kind of had this international tie. I mean, guys like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. I mean, Tim Duncan was from the Virgin Islands. So, like, obviously not the same level, but similar kind of international guy. Like, international guys for the Spurs has kind of always played well. So, if Wembanyama can really live up to the hype here, be that next guy, and then you put him with a veteran like Chris Paul in this event, and then obviously now, like I just talked about earlier, adding De'Aaron Fox in a trade, it's pretty good deal for the Spurs. I like what they're doing there. So I'm a fan of Wembanyama and CP3 in the skills competition. I think that's a good pairing. So let me know. Are you guys excited to watch? Like, does that get you guys going, or does that move the needle? Do you guys now want to watch the skills competition because of an event like that? Obviously, whole lineup has been announced. What about the slam dunk contest? Like, are you guys feeling, having some of these young guys, or are you guys like me? Would you rather have some maybe bigger names playing in it? So yeah, I mean that's kind of most of what I got here. Like I said, this is just me, probably a little bit shorter, but if anyone has, kind of some questions, any takes, feel free to drop them. We can talk about them here. I'll just kind of look. I know there's a couple big games here this week. We can kind of maybe talk about those a little bit if that interests people. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said at the start of the show, this is kind of the time of year when people really start getting into the NBA. Finally NFL is ending, so football is finally, don't care about. People are looking for something else to get into. And I think the NBA, this is really when the NBA starts picking up. I mean, you're going to start having like I love the ABC like Sunday showcase games. Like those always get me fired up. That always has me like, all right, playoffs around the corner. Like these are big games. These are games, marquee games people want to watch. So I'm excited for those. Just because now that Sunday window's open. I mean, we've already had it. The ABC primetime games. We've had a couple of them so far with the Lakers winning both of them so far. I mean, they had a good win on Saturday night against the Knicks. I mean, that's crazy too. Like usually that would be the lead. Like the Lakers went into Madison Square Garden. I mean, LeBron 32 points, triple-double, really good game for him. And that was by far not even close to the biggest Laker headline there on Saturday night. I mean, that's just how insane that Luka Doncic trade was. So yeah, for anyone, didn't catch the beginning of the show, catch me talking about if you got any more Luka takes, I'd love to hear them. Yeah, I mean, the NBA, it's starting to heat up. I mean, trade deadline this week. I'm really excited on next week's show, kind of talk about any other trades that happen here. I mean, I gotta think Jimmy Butler's getting traded. You gotta think. That standoff with the Heat has just been insane. And that just kind of takes me back to, I'm like, how do the Mavericks see the Jimmy Butler standoff and be like, nah, like we can just like take the first deal, like we can just fold, like take your time, you can do it. Frick, he's not even playing. Like Luke's not even playing. He's already hurt. He can't like make his trade value worse. But I don't really know. Like, I mean, I love this clip. I saw it was the Bill Simmons podcast. Ryan Russillo was on. Ryan Russillo was like, Luka Doncic could be smoking cigarettes, taking the ball up the court, and I'm still offering him the super max because that's how good of a player he is. So the fact that the Mavericks just said, nah, we're good, we don't need that, is just going to forever just be crazy to me. I just cannot believe it, can't comprehend it. So yeah, so I got to think Jimmy Butler gets moved. Like I mentioned, I'm going to the Bulls Heat game tomorrow night. I'm excited for that. See what happens there. See who's actually playing. Does Butler get moved? Does maybe Vucevic get moved? Maybe some other Bulls, like I said, Kobe White, Zach LaVine. Well, it'll be interesting to see. So let's see. Looking here at some games, some big games this week. Tomorrow we have the third meeting here between the Celtics and the Cavs on the year. So far they've split the two meetings. It's gonna be 6:30 Central, so my time 7:30 Eastern on TNT. When you have the top two teams in the East going at it, I mean that's must-watch TV. Like I said, I won't be able to watch it, but for those of you sitting at home tomorrow night, make sure to watch it. I'm getting a notification here on my phone. Trae Young just hit a game winner. So the Hawks, there you go. See, I'm talking about him. I was like, I'm not an all-star. Just hit a game winner. What a guy. Other than the second game of that doubleheader, mark, and again, no Luka, but first game without AD, we got Lakers at Clippers. Should be a good one. I mean, the LA rivalry. I think it's even bigger now that the Clippers have moved, got their own gym. I think that makes those games really interesting there. So that's definitely me one. Hopefully we can get home, catch the end of that. Then looking here at the ESPN doubleheader for Wednesday, we got the Spurs at the Hawks to kick it off at 7 Eastern. Victor Wembanyama, obviously leader for the Spurs. Now he's got De'Aaron Fox. See how that goes. Up against Trae Young and the Hawks. So Hawks, like I mentioned, they're currently in that 9 seed. This should be a good game. I mean, see De'Aaron Fox hopefully first game with the Spurs. Good match between him and Trae Young. Should be excited to watch that. And then the second game for that doubleheader, we got the Suns at the Thunder. I mean, the Suns could be a sneaky team. Maybe they make some moves before Thursday's deadline as well. I mean, Bradley Beal sounds like he's in some talks. Maybe he's the kind of guy that makes the money work. Granted, the thing for him is he has this no trade clause. It's making things really interesting. So we'll see if he gets dealt. If he's still there. I mean, I did see some potential rumblings. Maybe even like Kevin Durant could be in talks. Honestly, like I said, after 2 years ago when Durant got traded to the Suns after Kyrie got traded to the Mavs, really nothing with Kevin Durant surprises me at this point. Like, yeah, it'll be oh wow, but I don't think anything's topping the Luka trade. So I guess we'll see. Trying to think here, any other kind of big games. Then Thursday, let's see what we got for Thursday's doubleheader. Sorry, I probably should have written this down before, but kind of gives me a little time to catch my breath. So we have a finals rematch. I forgot about this. Yes, we got the finals rematch, 7:30 Eastern on Thursday. Mavericks at Celtics, but obviously now in New Look Mavericks. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm intrigued for that. Jason Tatum versus Anthony Davis now instead of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown versus Luka. Granted, like I said, Luka wasn't gonna play anyways, but gonna be interesting to see how that goes. And then second game of that doubleheader, we have Warriors at Lakers. Curry, LeBron, always got to tune in when those two guys are going at it. I mean, generational players. They've had two great games already this year. I mean, Christmas Day, that Lakers Warriors game was probably the best game I've watched all year. And then, yeah, 2 Saturdays ago on Saturday, primetime was a good matchup as well. So yeah, I guess if no one else has any other chats, that's probably going to wrap it up for me. That's kind of all I got here on the NBA this week. Like I mentioned, so next week, kind of break down any other trades that happen here. And then, can react. They're having the NBA All-Star Draft on Thursday this week. So next week's show, give my picks on maybe who I think is going to win that, as well as maybe some of my picks for dunk contest, 3-point stuff like that, if those are all finalized. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys so much for watching this first episode. So yeah, the plan here is going to be live every Monday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Right now, just me. See if maybe I can bring on some co-hosts, or if any of you guys are interested, feel free to hit up Variety Sports Network. I'd love to work with you guys, meet some more of you guys. So appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace. Did it end? Oh, it didn't end.